Hello, family. Welcome to this episode. On this episode, we want to take a look at how parents react to child killer in the courtroom. Their actions, their reaction, the one they have to bite, punch in the courtroom. Because these guys, they just kill their child. It's so sad, so painful. So I want you to take your time to watch this video, how parents react to child killer in the courtroom. You will learn something. Watch, I'll be right back.
What happens when a heartless child murderer gets a taste of his own medicine? Like in the case of Devon Mashwain, who's facing charges for murder, attempted murder, and several counts of gang enhancement charges in Merced, California. In November of 2022, a young mother was on a walk with her 9-month-old when out of nowhere a bullet pierced the baby's chest. Ayala grabbed her baby and ran to the nearest McDonald's for help, but it was too late. And as if Devon's crimes couldn't get more chilling, Ayala confirmed that he was a lifelong friend of hers.
I want him to be crying on his knees, like, sorry, like crawling to me type stuff, like, I'm sorry I did that. Like, I want to see him suffer. Ayala
was so distressed that she couldn't attend the court proceedings in person, but one inmate swore to get justice on her behalf. The inmate treated Mashwain's head like a punching bag, but by the time Devon registered his attack, it was already over. While an officer puts the attacker in handcuffs, Mashwain was still putting the pieces together. The attacker was inmate James Clay McRae, who was facing his own murder charges. Officers stopped the attack after 5 seconds, but the baby's mother sent Mashwain a chilling warning.
Every time you go in there, someone's gonna come at you and get beat up every time. It's just, all I gotta say is be ready for what's coming for you, boy. Like, a lot's gonna come your way and you're gonna be hurt, like damaged real bad.
Mashwain pleaded guilty to manslaughter. However, his sentence has yet to be released. A mother too traumatized to face the courtroom is heartbreaking. But what happens when a family member vows to seek justice, no matter the cost? This is Quinn Bowes, charged with a level 2 felony, domestic battery, resulting in the death of a minor in Princeton, Indiana.
I know I exaggerated things, now I got it like that. Tuck my napkin in my shirt cause I'm just mobbing like that.
Bowes wanted to be the next big rap artist, but life had other plans for him. On Valentine's Day of 2018, Bowes noticed that his infant son Parker wasn't breathing. He called an ambulance, which rushed the baby to the nearest hospital. Bowes claimed that the baby fell and hit his head, but the nurses weren't convinced. During the desperate fight to save baby Parker's life, the nurses found something alarming. Parker had suffered multiple injuries, including hemorrhages in his brain and eyes. The nurses reported Bowes to CPS, and when baby Parker passed away 3 days later, the charges escalated from abuse to murder. During interrogation, Bowes claimed that the baby fell unconscious after hitting his head on the coffee table. The police saw right through his lies. The baby's other family members were understandably enraged at Bowes' crimes, but nobody expected him to take revenge into their own hands. The attacker is Jeremiah Hartley, Parker's uncle. Police stopped the attack within seconds, ushering Bowes safely out of danger. Meanwhile, they put handcuffs on Hartley and charged him with assault. The judge gave him 100 days in jail, but that can't compare to the punishment he gave the baby killer. Bowes was sentenced to 25 years in prison for his crimes. Hartley single-handedly attacked his nephew's killer. But what happens when the entire family gets involved? This is Wendell McNeil, charged with manslaughter in Syracuse, New York. McNeil, who was on prison work release from an unrelated crime, stabbed 24-year-old Alan Michael Walker to death in his own apartment. When McNeil appeared in court, Walker's entire family was there too, and they were out for blood. McNeil had just stood up to give a statement of apology to the family. That's when they attacked. Police detained the main aggressor, but the rest of the family wouldn't back down. Police eventually got it under control, and after a quick recess, McNeil was given an additional 7 to 15 years in prison for manslaughter. A family's collective rage is an intimidating force. But how despicable do someone's crimes have to be for a complete stranger to get involved? This is Christopher Elwell, facing sexual assault charges against a minor in Rochester, New Hampshire. Elwell had just been sentenced to 7.5 to 15 years for sexually assaulting a 4-year-old girl.
The defendant was required to register as a sex offender, had been living at 12 Mineral Park Drive off and on, but more than 5 times a month, and had not changed his registration with the Somersworth Police Department.
He was then led to a seat next to the other prisoners, but nobody expected his seatmate to do this. Handcuffed and unarmed, he would use the only weapon available, his head. Josiah Davies, who was in court for a probation hearing, headbutted Elwell 3 times before police pushed him away. Elwell appeared unharmed. In fact, he looked smug. For his own safety, police led Elwell to his cell. Detectives say that Davies had no connection to Elwell's case. Elwell's seatmate attacked with nothing but his head. But now what happens when a father uses his fists to deliver justice? This is Deshawn Brown, charged with aggravated murder, tampering with evidence, and gross abuse of a corpse in Cincinnati, Ohio. In 2020, Deshawn Brown lived with his girlfriend, Daisha Latmore, and her 2-year-old son, Nilo. From the outside, things looked perfect. Daisha was even pregnant with Brown's baby. But when she tragically suffered a miscarriage, things took a turn for the worse. Allegedly, Brown had blamed her for the miscarriage, and as retaliation, he stabbed her to death in their apartment. The next day, he walked her son, Nilo, across the Ohio River Bridge, and only one of them made it to the other side. Days after killing Nilo, Brown wrapped Daisha's body in a plastic bag and threw her into the Ohio River. This was the moment her body was discovered.
Cincinnati 911, what is the address for your emergency?
I found a dead body.
A security guard's doing rounds when he stumbles upon the scene.
Somebody threw a bag, like on the edge of the bridge, and my curiosity got the best of me. So I got up there and knocked it down, and it was heavy. It hit the ground. It's like a body bag.
Nilo's empty stroller was discovered on the bridge, but despite hours of search, his body was never found. Understandably, Daisha's father and Nilo's grandfather wants Brown dead.
You deserve the death penalty for what you did to my grandson and my daughter. You deserve the death penalty. No mercy, none.
And he's not the only one. In court, surrounded by his enemies, Brown was tried for his crimes. One of these enemies would be Tonio Hughes, Nilo's biological father, and he was determined to get revenge. Watch closely as Hughes seizes his opportunity. Hughes sneaks up behind Brown and sucker punches him from behind. Brown cowers as police try to pull him away. Hughes was charged with contempt and spent 4 nights in jail. Brown, however, would face a much harsher punishment.
The defendant's motion to exclude the death penalty due to serious mental illness at the time of the alleged offense is hereby denied.
Brown's official sentence has yet to be released, but if connected, he could face the death penalty. Hughes had no mercy with his son's killer. But how does that compare to a father flying at the defendant in court? This is Clifford Thomas, facing murder charges in Detroit, Michigan. In September of 2014, Thomas was babysitting his girlfriend's toddler when he noticed she wasn't breathing. Thomas grabbed the toddler, picked up his girlfriend from work, and together they went to the hospital. However, by the time Thomas arrived, the toddler's brain had already gone too long without oxygen. Days later, the toddler died, and the couple was arrested for child abuse. Dwayne Smith, the child's biological father, appears in court to give his victim impact statement, but things didn't go as planned. He flew at Thomas, fists raised. But Thomas tried to fight back. The deputies could barely hold the men back as the rest of the court evacuated. Meanwhile, the toddler's mother started having a breakdown. Lucky for him, Dwayne Smith didn't get charged with assault or contempt of court. But the judge wasn't so merciful with Thomas.
Mr. Thomas, you're a wonderful actor because you wanted this court to believe that a child was in your care who had suffered over 50 injuries to her body, that somehow you noticed that she was not breathing in the back seat of a car. You loved her so much. You didn't take her to the hospital when you saw that she was not breathing in this car. Instead, you stopped by a job of the mother to pick her up so that she could take this child to the hospital. Unbelievable, but you are an incredible actor, and for that, you should get a standing ovation.
If you thought she was done, think again.
Miss Gordon, you're an even better actor because on your interview, you pretended like you did not know that your child was being abused, either by you or the man that sat at home all day with your child while you worked and he did not. You are responsible for your child.
The judge gave Thomas 17 years in jail. The toddler's mother, however, was sentenced to 35. The judge sent these horrible parents away for decades. But what happens when a child killer is only sentenced to 1 year? This is James Douglas Gonzalez, facing murder charges in Mobile, Alabama. Back in 1992, Paul was walking through a motel parking lot when a suspicious car approached. Suddenly, the car's passenger extended his hand out of the window and fired a gun at Hall, killing him. Later, police pinned the murder to none other than James Douglas Gonzalez. The day of his sentencing, there were at least 6 officers lining the walls of the courtroom, ready for a fight. The jury finds Gonzalez guilty, not of murder, but of negligent homicide. And Hall's younger brother, Kevin, can't take it. Kevin latched onto Gonzalez and started throwing punches, and nobody could pull him away. Meanwhile, his family in the audience is beside themselves with grief. Even more officers pile into the room, trying to separate the two.
More law enforcement is called in to restore order in the court.
The judge sentenced Kevin and his father to 5 nights in jail. As for Gonzalez, for the charge of negligent manslaughter, he was given a year in jail. James Gonzalez's conviction left families outraged. But what happens when one word sends the courtroom into chaos? This is Paul Wade, charged with 2 counts of murder and felony possession of a handgun in Louisville, Kentucky. Wade was arrested after killing 2 people in 2 separate locations on the same night. Curiously enough, the 2 victims were roommates. Wade was brought to court, but during his pretrial hearing, the victims' families caused a disturbance.
Mr. Eggert is...
Quiet in the courtroom.
The family quickly apologized.
We all family. Okay, y'all got to not talk. Okay.
The judge gave them one last chance.
No talking in the courtroom.
Yes.
What's up? Go ahead.
The rest of the hearing went on without incident.
Thank you.
But just as Wade passed the family, he whispered the word, bitch, and they attacked. The judge tried to calm him down. But then the fight came to her. Every family member gave chase, and they were out for blood.
Get out of the way! Mr. Turner, get out of the way!
Then the judge started screaming too. The judge was still clueless about why the fight happened, so the remaining family members tried to explain it to her.
He called me bitches when he was born. He killed our brother. He killed our sister.
He killed my niece. He killed my nephew's father. Come on.
Meanwhile, the fight in the hallway continued. It took deputies 20 minutes and multiple rounds of pepper spray to break it up. 4 family members were charged with minor misdemeanors. Miraculously, Wade escaped without a scratch. If found guilty, Wade could face up to life in prison for his crimes. The family didn't let Wade go until he paid for his words. But what happens when you incite violence with just a simple smirk? This is Michael Madison, facing charges of sexual assault, murder, and abuse of a corpse in Cleveland, Ohio. Back in 2013, neighbors reported a foul smell coming from an abandoned lot in their neighborhood. When the police arrived, they discovered the bodies of 3 young women, all in different stages of decomposition. After weeks of investigation, police arrested their suspect, Michael Madison. In court, Madison was finally facing justice. But it didn't come from the judge. This is Van Terry, the father of Madison's youngest victim, Sherelda Terry. And as he gave his victim impact statement, he turned to Madison and saw him smirk. Deputies blocked his attack, but he kept swinging. Madison is rushed to safety, and it takes a whole team of people to subdue Terry's rage. Deputies took Terry away, but later released him without charges. And miraculously, Madison escaped that attack without a scratch. But he couldn't escape this.
You cajoled, lured, and deceived Shatisha Shealy, Angela Deskins, and Sherelda Terry to your apartment for your depraved purposes. Accordingly, the sentence of death is imposed upon the defendant, Michael Madison, on counts 1, 4, and 7.
Madison was sentenced to death for his crimes. Terry may have flown through the air, but how does that compare to someone who just flies across the entire courtroom? This is Vashan Flowers, charged with murder in Muskegon, Michigan. On May 19, 2019, the daughter of Jamie Flowers called the cops after hearing gunshots ring out from the living room. Earlier that day, Jamie Flowers got into this heated argument with her husband, Vashan Flowers, over a pack of cigarettes. He stormed out in a rage and came back with a gun hours later. In court, Flowers' daughter describes the tragedy.
The district judge ruled there was sufficient evidence to move the case to circuit court for a possible trial.
He got down on the ground and started choking my mother. I heard, "You don't have to do this, Vashan. Please don't do this. You don't have to do this." And then I heard gunshots.
You recall how many you heard?
4. I got up and I left out of the room. She was sitting straight up against the wall.
You observed some blood?
Yes, on her shirt. Gunshots, bullet holes in her shirt and blood.
The daughter used her testimony as a weapon to make Vashan pay for his crimes. His other children, however, resorted to more primal means. Watch closely for what Flowers' son, London Thomas, does next. He flips over the partition and flies toward Vashan. A deputy knocks by him, pushing him off course, with a second deputy there to stop the attack. It would take a team of deputies to subdue the angry son. He'd be arrested but later released without charges. Vashan Flowers, however, wasn't so fortunate. The judge gave him life in prison. And this was his family's reaction.
It is our sincerest wish that each and every day you spend caged as an animal you are, you never forget why. That the ties that bind you hold you for eternity in hell. So it is said, so it shall be done.
Okay, be careful. Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. I always say, don't do drugs, don't fight, don't kill. Life that you cannot create, don't take it. Life that you cannot create, don't take it. Accept Jesus as your Lord and personal Savior. Start learning how to live a godly life, and you will be saved. So sorry to the loss of these people's children. So sorry. May God give the family beatitude to bear the loss. May God keep everybody safe. Be safe out there and be careful. God be with you. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, comment, share. God bless. I'm out.